Hello and welcome to WhatKeepsYouAwake.tv. It's time again to dive into the hustles, the hurdles, and the highs that keep small business leaders up at night. I'm your host, David Hooser, and I'm thrilled to welcome today's guest, Len Munsil. Len has served as president of Arizona Christian University since 2010. During his reign, the school has transitioned both through a name and a location change, yet tripled its enrollment. Incredible accomplishment. He is a highly educated and accomplished individual, so much that I have my work cut out for me to keep this episode from becoming a 2-hour segment. So, Len, welcome to the show.
Thank you, David. Great to be with you today.
Good to have you here, my
Thanks.
friend. Let's get started with our foundational questions. So I learned that as a grandfather of 20,
Yeah.
I think I know what keeps you awake at night.
Well, fortunately, they're all independent, so they not the grandchildren, but they live with their parents.
That's right.
So they're not keeping us up in that way.
In that way.
But yeah, it's a lot to think about for sure.
Never know when the phone's going to ring at your house.
We're grateful to have a big family and kids that are doing well and that are now raising kids who are doing well.
So
it's,
what
it's a
keeps you
blessing.
awake then?
Yeah.
Let's get back
well,
to that.
Lots of things honestly keep me awake. The state of the country, would be one. But as it relates specifically to Arizona
There's no
Christian,
chaos in our country. What are you talking about, man?
No issues there. No, we're doing fine. I think, as it relates to Arizona Christian University, there's a lot of challenges, a lot of headwinds facing higher education.
Yes.
And so, grappling with that, and then, I think anyone that is, has responsibility for a business or an organization, there's just a lot of things that can come at you any day. And, part of it, that's the fun of it, is you never know for sure what your day is going to look like. But it's also, if you're someone like me who sort of looks at all the possibilities of things that could happen, you can see a lot of things that could happen that wouldn't be great.
Right.
And especially when you're dealing with, a lot of young people making decisions. You're dealing with a lot of people that work at an organization that, you're dealing with. When it comes to higher ed, you've got, as a president, you've got a lot of constituencies.
Sure.
You've got, not just the students, but their parents. You've got faculty. You've got staff. You've got a board of trustees.
Yep.
You've got donors. And you've got a really tight regulatory environment between the Department of Ed, state regulations, accreditors. So there's a lot of constituencies. And I heard one person, Drucker famously said that the toughest job in the country is president of the United States, and the second toughest job is being president of a college. And it's because of the number of constituencies.
Right.
And I did hear a college president one time say that, you've got 12 to 15 major constituencies, and at any given time, about half of them are mad at you.
That's
and,
right.
And it does feel that way sometimes.
That's right. Well, so right now, are you able to, are students able to do tuition-based programs from government? Are there still government programs for Arizona Christian?
There's students have to pay for their tuition and fees. They have a lot of scholarships that we provide through donor support and other ways. But they have access to what's called Title IV federal funding. But it's a transaction really between them and the government. So student loans, and in some cases,
but they still
grants.
They still can be eligible for
Oh,
those.
absolutely, yeah. Okay. There's access to federal loans and to grants that are income-based. And so for a school like ours, which is an up-and-coming school, growing very rapidly, many of our students are first-generation college students. I think when I came to the school, it was a small Bible college with between 300 and 400 students.
All right. And where was that located?
That was located on Cactus Road, 26th Street and Cactus Road, on about 18 acres.
Okay.
And, at that point, it was founded by a conservative Baptist denomination.
All right.
It was predominantly a middle class and frankly mostly white school, about 92%.
Okay,
Today we're about 50% white
Okay.
and 50% non-white.
got it.
We draw from a
How
broad
about foreign
constituency.
versus, do you have
We have some foreign students, but that's a very small percentage.
mostly U.S. based?
Yeah, no, we draw from 40 states
Okay.
and 30 countries, but not a ton from each country. One or two
Yeah.
coming from different
Right.
parts of the world. So you get introduced to a lot of different people from a lot of different backgrounds. And really what unites people at the university is their faith in Christ.
Got
So
it.
we have a lot of unity, even though we come from really diverse
lot of
backgrounds
diversity. Right.
as a school. But we also have close to 40% of our students who are Pell Grant eligible. And that's why
income-based?
it's income-based. And essentially what that means is that household income is going to be $75,000 a year or less.
Okay.
And so, like I said, it creates it's a very diverse student population, and we've got students coming from all different backgrounds. But that's one of the reasons why, we've been ranked, I think, 9 straight years now as a best college by U.S. News and World Report. We're also ranked in the category they call social mobility. And that's because we are bringing people out of difficult economic circumstances into our university, graduating them and moving them into the middle class or the upper middle class with their college degree. So ACU is a unique place.
But it's
'cause-
not just ministerial or Christian curriculum. It's you
Well,
have pre-law, you have pre-med.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So in terms of the majors that we offer, we have a wide variety. Our largest program is the business program.
Biz, okay.
We have pre-law, political science. In fact, we've had just our second student now admitted to Harvard Law School out of Arizona Christian University. We added a biology program when I got there,
Okay.
and pre-med, and so we're getting our first now medical doctors finishing their residency. I just met with a couple last week that met at ACU right after we started the biology program. He was one of our very first graduates. Met his wife there. She's a teacher. They're going to Burundi, Africa, as medical missionaries.
Oh, wow.
And so we do come from a Christian context in all of our teaching,
Right.
but like I said, it's not. It started as really a school for pastors, missionaries.
Right.
Then they added a teaching program. Then they added a business program, and we've grown it a lot more since then. So there's a wide variety of positions and places that we're educating students for, and we're looking to expand that significantly in the years to come to meet the workforce needs, of our state, of our country, of
Right.
our world.
Right.
So there's a lot of opportunity there for
Is there a
continued growth.
Do you have a tech program? Or
When I came,
close?
there was nothing
Okay.
in that area. And like I said, we added biology. We have got some health sciences
Okay.
that we're expanding to, but that's an area that we're going to grow into.
Yeah,
In
well,
part
I mean,
because
especially
it's
the
in
valley,
demand. Yeah,
Because you have
Yeah.
still a healthy flow of
sure.
tech, with Taiwan Semiconductor just to your
Absolutely. Yeah.
north, Intel growing bigger and to the south.
Yeah, that's something that, in fact, we just had a Board of Trustees meeting recently, and I said, these are the areas we need to look at adding programs, again, to meet the needs of the workforce. But at the same time, we're also a place that tells young men and women that, money's not the most important thing in life. There's something,
Exactly.
more important,
Exactly.
which is
And the overall
understanding,
message.
understanding that you're created by a loving God,
Right.
and you have an opportunity to live a life that will flourish if you have a good work ethic and if you follow the basic, structure, the basic commands we're given, which,
Absolutely.
our whole civilization, I believe, was based on essentially biblical principles. And the fact that we've moved so far away from them, I think, has really created a lot of upheaval in our society.
We've seen a lot of change, I know, and it's understandable because my school, we were operating in 24 countries, a lot of cultures and a lot of religious basis and differentiation that we had to account for.
Sure.
So you can understand the diversity, but you can't argue with the facts that when you interact with truly, faith-based people,
Yeah.
usually have a much better interaction and engagement than people that
Well,
have no belief.
if they take seriously their faith and
That's
they try to live it, absolutely, and that's where we teach our young men and women that these biblical principles applied to the world around them actually work.
That's right.
So do what you say you're going to do. Tell the truth.
Right.
Keep your word. Don't try to take advantage of people. Treat others as you want to be treated. These are principles that are found in Scripture, but I believe we built a whole country that was built around those types of principles.
That basis, right.
The importance of the family. Those are foundational things that we have really moved away from as a nation, and really to our detriment.
And
so
I think our last, quote unquote, our last election, made a statement on that front. That we've gone too far. And I would tend to say that. You certainly need tolerance for your fellow human being.
Of course.
And
But the
that's-
Bible actually teaches that.
Exactly.
That's what.
Exactly.
So what people don't understand is all of the Bible and all of Christian teaching is about compassion and love.
Right.
But what that looks like is not, do whatever you want to do.
What you want to do.
The loving response to somebody that's suicidal is not, go ahead and jump off that building.
Right.
So in the same way, a lot of what is mistaken for, as judgment from the Christian community is really compassion, and it's love. It's like we want people to live happy, flourishing lives.
Right.
And when you see people making really bad decisions, there's answers for those things. So I think that's one of the hardest. I remember talking to a Christian business leader and saying, we've got the greatest love story ever told. And yet everybody right now, it seems like in the culture, is saying, these are such hateful people.
Right.
And so, that's part of our message to young people is that be bold. It's going to take courage to stand for these truths, but always do it with love, always do it with compassion, and be motivated by wanting to see other people have success in their life.
And by the way, I think it was today, wasn't it? The President Trump.
Yeah, actually yesterday with Charlie Kirk.
Charlie Kirk, was that yesterday? Okay.
Yeah, it was, and that's like I said, one of our taglines at ACU is courageously Christian.
Yes.
It's like, okay, in the culture that's gone from being sort of, embedded in Christian principles to neutral to hostile.
Yes.
It's going to take courage to stand for the things that are true, and then, Charlie Kirk in our community was sort of an object lesson.
He was.
Like it was a horrific, tragic, horrible cost for his family and those that knew him, but demonstrating that just standing for the things that are true from Scripture can literally put your life at risk in America, which is hard,
hard to stand.
It's hard to believe, hard to understand that we would be at that point.
Right. Yeah, that is unfortunate. So, well, let's talk a little bit about the things that you've accomplished with the school. So what prompted, radical changes, moving from one location to another, changing the name, still growing. How do you pull all those things together?
Yeah, it starts, for me, it always starts with mission. Okay? We have an important mission. We want to equip Christians to be people of influence.
Okay.
One of the things that the Bible says is that when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. When a wicked man rules, the people groan.
Right.
And in authority, that can be business owners. Are we better or not better if business owners are attempting to be honest, if recognizing even in the way that they treat their staff that they answer to God? It's not just all about how much money can be made.
Right.
Aren't we better off if we have artists and people creating movies and music that actually uplift the human spirit rather than degrade it?
Right.
It's better for everyone if so we have a really clear mission that was clarified during that season, and it involved changing the name because I wanted people to know the former name Southwestern College had been around for 50 years, but it was really not very well known in the community.
Right.
And there are 6 Southwestern colleges in the country.
Right.
And if you Googled them, we came up 5th on the list. So there wasn't a lot in that name other than from the few graduates that we had that loved the school. So we decided to change the name and say
sense.
where we are, which is an advantage to be in Arizona. It's a great place to be, particularly in the school, in the
this
academic
coming
year,
up, this
between
coming
September
season.
and May, which is the time when students would come. And we wanted to say, when we did that in 2011, we wanted to say, this is not, the Christian in our name is not some, remnant of a previous generation that we're kind of embarrassed about now.
Right.
We're embracing it because we want people to know who we are, what we believe, what we stand for. And so we've actually now quadrupled in size from those early days.
That's phenomenal.
But so changed the name, we clarified the mission. My first year here, we brought in President George W. Bush, and we did an event downtown and raised some money, explained the name change, explained kind of clarifying the mission. And then it's kind of been a wild ride off to the races ever since. Consistent growth in programs, both academically and athletically.
Okay.
We have a very strong small college athletic program.
What?
So we have a football team. We
Okay.
have our basketball team went to the Final Four last year. We play in the NAIA,
NAIA,
which is
okay.
comparable to NCAA Division II.
Okay.
But it's its own entity. In fact, I'm on the Council of Presidents of the NAIA, which is its governing board. But it's more than our tagline for the NAIA is the right way to play.
Okay.
If you're frustrated with what's happening at the NCAA,
Right.
particularly Division I level, where every student is not really a student, they're a free agent, that is going out and signing deals. We call it the right way to play because we're like the last bastion of the genuine student athlete, and they're good. I mean,
Right.
these are students that some of them have been at the NCAA Division I level, so it's highly competitive, highly entertaining. But our faith piece is one of the things that will draw kids to come and compete at this level, and so yeah. So
I mean, that is one
so
thing.
athletics and academics both we've expanded.
That's great. That is one thing you do see very often in professional sports is the acknowledgement of a greater being
Yes.
influencing their
Yeah.
life, their mothers.
People are being a lot more outspoken
They
about
are.
that.
You're starting to see that a
Yeah.
lot more,
Yeah.
which is reinforcing. I mean,
It is, and so and we expect our students to not only have the ability to be good academic students, but also to be in alignment with the faith commitments of the university. And so we don't recruit everyone. So
That's
it looks a little bit different, and we help them understand that probably I mean, some of our students have gone on to play professionally, but for 99% of college athletes,
Right.
this is going to be the last hurrah. So we help them understand, okay, what's next? You've been the best athlete on every team since you were 4 years old, and now you're not, and now you're recognizing, even if you do play professionally, it's still a short window in a 70 to 80 year
That's right.
lifespan.
that's right.
So who are you now?
What do you do next?
And what do you do? And so we try to give them both a vocation, an education that will prepare them to be successful vocationally, and also a spiritual understanding of who they are, their relationship with Christ, and how that can lead them to success in forming a family and having a flourishing life.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very good story.
So that's a part of our growth, for sure.
Okay. And then your location is
Yeah, so now we are the old Thunderbird School
Yeah.
of Global Management. And,
Okay.
I've seen a lot.
Is there a dorm facility?
There are.
Yeah, I thought
Yeah,
there were.
yeah. So I've seen a lot of miracles in my 15 years at the school. This is one of the biggest, and that is that we had reached a point. I started looking within a few years of coming to the school because of our growth for a larger campus footprint.
Okay.
We were on 18 acres when I got there. We added a couple. We got up to 20. Everything I tried to do in that neighborhood in North Phoenix kept getting thwarted, and I didn't understand why until
Not in my backyard.
well, it was. There were a lot of different reasons. It
Yeah.
depended. There were apartments we tried to get. There was a church that was about to close that we tried to get, and like I said, it kept getting blocked. And so we were stuck on these 20 acres. We were out of room. We didn't have enough academic space. We didn't have enough parking. We didn't have enough athletic space. We didn't have enough dorm rooms. We were capped kind of at what we could enroll. And so I was looking for years for the right opportunity for us. And in 2018, Arizona State University, which had taken over the Thunderbird School of Global Management in Glendale, announced that they were going to shutter that campus and moved the Thunderbird school downtown. So
right.
it's right around the
Across
corner
the
from
street.
where we are. And I'd gotten to know President Crow when I was the Republican nominee for governor of Arizona. I got to know him then. I'd talked to him since going into higher education, and he'd always been friendly, helpful. What can I do to help? And so I just reached out to him and said, what are you going to do with that campus? And as typical, President Crow does not sleep. He emailed me back at 11:30 at night and said, we have some preliminary plans, but nothing's been committed to. And so he set me up to start meeting with some of the key leaders at Arizona State University. And over 11 months, we negotiated a very complicated deal that at its core was simply trading campuses,
Right.
which they were able to do because their plan was to sell the land to developers who were going to probably knock down whatever was there. And so if you, when they did the appraisals as if the land was vacant, which was their future use for it,
Right.
they weren't that far apart. But the reality is they weren't vacant. For us, we were coming into a campus that was 3.5 times the size, and with 3.5 times the amount of parking,
Right.
dorm rooms. So we went from being capped at 200 students living on campus to we finally hit capacity now in our 6th year on campus. So now we're out of space again.
Oh, no.
We've got 700 students living on
700
campus. You can
dorms.
imagine the growth involved in that. And at the same time, opening up more classroom space and then athletic field space. So a lot of our teams, other than basketball, had to go play at local high schools. Sure. They're playing collegiate athletics, but they're playing in these high school venues. And now we've been able to put a football field and, we can seat about 1,500 for football games. We've got, we're just finally putting in the baseball field this year. We've got soccer, lacrosse, we've got women's softball, and then obviously we have our men's and women's basketball programs.
Right.
But we've been able to add additional,
Now,
volleyball.
All those venues are on the same.
Virtually everything now
Okay.
is on campus.
Wow.
Not golf. Our golf team has to go, but
Wow.
we don't have a golf course. But
We have plenty of those.
yeah, there's a lot of those around. But a lot of things are on campus, which of course leads to a much more vibrant campus life and campus
Yeah, it sure
community,
does.
and a better experience for the students.
Right.
So, yeah, so like I said, a long process wouldn't have happened without the leadership of President Crow. There's a reason why Arizona State University is the most innovative university every year for it's been 15 years or something now. But they're willing to look outside the box and say, this is a win-win-win. The city of Glendale did not want that historic campus, which, by the way, it was a World War II air base.
Yeah, right.
It's got a great history, and we celebrate the history. 16,000 pilots were trained for World War II on that campus. So we celebrate that. But, the city of Glendale did not want all of that torn down, for housing. And so it was a win for the city. The mayor, Jerry Weyers, got behind it. You had the president of ASU seeing, okay, this is worth us doing something that's a little bit outside the box, rather than just simply maximizing the money that we can get from this. We can actually help higher education, because President Crow's a big believer in,
Sure.
he likes the idea that there are Christian universities.
Right.
He likes the idea that there's a diversity of options for students.
That's right.
I'm a third generation Arizonan, and I grew up here. I didn't even really think about anything other than junior college and ASU.
Right.
That's what everybody did.
That's what you think about.
And so now we're developing, an ecosystem of small colleges that are private, that have the ability to do different things and to be able to provide a level of attention to students that it's harder to find at a school of 20 or 30 or 40,000 or 100,000.
What's the total enrollment again?
So all total students were between 1,600 and 1,700 now.
Okay.
And the number of students that actually attend so we've added graduate degrees, which we didn't have before. So we have master's degrees now in education, in Christian leadership, and in marriage and family studies.
Okay.
And we'll be adding more, but we never had those. We were just a bachelor degree granting institution for 60 plus years. So that's recent. We have some online students, but our priority is frankly the community and the face-to-face life change that happens for students between 18 and 23 and surrounding them with a Christian community that's pouring into them, not only educationally, but personally and spiritually. That's
But
the goal.
hybrid learning capability is critical, I think.
I agree.
I mean, as I was the opposite of you, I was 100% online.
Yeah.
We actually had as many as 30,000 students
Wow. Yeah.
attending in campuses all over the world.
Sure.
But,
Well, and we have that online option available, and but there's a lot of competition in the online space, as I'm sure you know,
There
especially
is.
in higher ed.
And when
there's
you
a
have
lot of money behind the big institutions, so it's
That's
hard to for people to recognize the distinctiveness of what we offer, but that is growing for us as well.
Again, it enhances. Again, hybrid, I believe, is the win.
Yeah.
And especially in your situation, like you said, where the emphasis is community,
Yeah.
bringing like-minded individuals that want to, carry on in both aspects of their life.
Yeah, absolutely.
In the career, professional aspect, as well as their faith and.
Yeah.
So that's great. No, I mean, we love to hear this story about the success of your
and we were talking earlier about a nonprofit is still a business.
It
is.
is.
And one of my favorite sayings is, no margin, no mission. You can't. And another one is you can't save the world if you can't pay the rent.
That's
we may have the best mission in the world, but if we're not operating effectively, efficiently, and against a lot of competition in higher ed, you're not going to be successful.
Right.
So I think my first budget was $5.6 million, and now we're at $33 million. So we've grown it dramatically at a time when college enrollment is down. A lot of small
is.
colleges
You're right.
are closing or shrinking
Certainly
or
struggling.
merging and struggling. And so the Chronicles of Higher Ed has a data edition every year. And over the last decade, we're the 5th fastest growing college in America.
Okay.
So we're having a lot of success, but it's not without, challenge
Effort.
and a lot of effort, a lot of great people on the team that are motivated by the mission. Because of our mission, we're able to draw faculty, we're able to draw staff, coaches, who are frankly better than, what we can afford.
Right.
Because they want to be at a
Because of-
place
yeah.
that's doing what we're doing missionally.
Right.
Yeah.
What are you seeing are the impacts of AI on higher ed?
Yeah, it's really challenging, and I think partly higher ed is grappling with how do we deal with this, and like all technological innovations, they're coming whether you like it or not.
It is.
So you
You
can't
can't.
put your head in the sand and say, we're going to just be against it. That's not going to work. So, students are already using it, but what we're trying to do is we want our students to understand how to use AI.
Prompting is a curriculum, just a prompt on these AI.
It is.
To get a real and accurate output.
So we're trying to be real about it and help them understand that you're going to have to be proficient in this in the future. But we also want to teach them to use it ethically. Don't use AI and then pass off the work product as your
That's
original
right.
thing.
That's right.
Don't use it to cheat in some way. But it's affecting everything. It affects how we teach. It affects how we assess. Because how do you assess a student's? You can't just give them write a research
can't
paper.
take a paper and say,
because
it's
that's
original
just
work.
So there's more. We're doing more oral exams, in class where they've got to be able to answer questions
Right.
so that we can assess: are they getting the material? Do they understand what they need to understand?
Right.
So it's changing higher ed, and we're not running from it. We're saying, okay, how do we continue our mission? But it may change some of the academic, programs that we offer over time.
Well, for example, you listen to the leaders in the tech space, and they're saying, don't put your kids in a computer science major program anymore. Put them
Which
in,
is,
put
5
them in
years
English.
ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, it was all about
Everything.
computer science,
It was
and
all.
and that's why I've tried to be in my 15 years in higher ed, and I didn't come to higher ed I'm an attorney. I came out
I
of
saw that.
a policy background primarily, trying to help people think, biblically how to engage with culture and with the political world. And so it was new to me, and I've learned a lot. But one of the things I've tried to do is resist what the latest fad is,
Sure.
and to say,
Sure.
no, there's some basic foundational things related to education that have stood the test of time since the beginning of universities, thousands of years ago. And so I've always said, there's technologies are going to come and change, and whatever is the latest thing might be obsolete in 5 years.
Right.
And that's really happened. But the ability to communicate well, to comprehend well, to think critically, and to be able to either in written or spoken way communicate, those are skills that are going to be needed no matter what the technology is.
Right.
In the moment. So.
And then I was reading too, what's interesting, the theories have changed. It used to be the theory was you're born with so many brain cells and you either develop them, and you develop a small percentage of them. The new theory is you continue to develop brain cells based on your utilization of them.
Yeah.
And the challenge with AI is we stop using
you stop
those
using
brain cells.
skills, and you atrophy, and that's
Just like
that's,
you would.
that's
in
the rise of the
muscular
machines that are
development.
that everybody's worried about.
That's
It's
right.
like, well, we don't really have any say in anything anymore. Yeah, and we're trying. We're actually trying to produce students that think well.
That's right.
Because that is going to be very, very important in whatever the future has for us.
Always.
Yeah.
Just knowing what you should be doing in the future is
Yeah.
thinking, is using. You can't count on the world to take care of you. You gotta
No.
be.
Well, and the whole, everything is fraught with ethical considerations. And
Very
so
much so.
part of, what we're trying to do is produce great citizens, who understand how to contribute to a community and come from a mindset of servant leadership. Like, you lead by serving.
Right.
Those are in many ways counterculture perspectives, but they are the perspectives that that in many ways our nation was built upon, right. And I believe we need to see a resurgence of a commitment to those basic principles in order to continue to flourish as a nation.
But I gotta believe, you leading the organization you do and seeing the growth in your student population and seeing things happen that I mean, I've seen a big shift. I'm positive on our future. I think there are a lot of divisive activities in our world, but seems like we're fighting through those.
I would agree. I see a shift happening among young people, partly because they're seeing how miserable the previous generations are that sort of turn their back on anything permanent, cultural, right. and they want authenticity, but they want their lives to matter. And so, obviously, I believe those answers are found in the Bible and through a relationship with Christ. And I believe that our students can share that with people around them. But there's definitely a shift happening among young people, and that's where it was always going to happen. Right. But I got to say, you got to be optimistic. If you're dealing with young people a lot, there's a lot to be encouraged about, and I would also argue that if you have 20 grandchildren, you better be an optimist about the future. And that's that's what are my wife and I in it for? We're in it. We want our kids to live in a country and in a world that respects these basic principles of humanity. Right. And so we're trying to do our part to turn out more young men and women who will seek out positions of leadership and will bring these values to the table wherever they go, including everything you do to the best of your ability to the glory of God. Right. And that speaks to the work ethic we try to instill in these young men and women. We want them to be the best. We want them to be excellent workers. We want them to be excellent creators. Right. If they run a business, we want them to be great business owners. Right. And so they're rising to the challenge. Kids will, this as somebody who ran schools, they will rise to the challenge you put in front of them. If you ask them to be better, to act better, to be kinder, to work harder, they rise to that challenge.
If you ask consistently, if you ask once, then they hear you maybe.
Yeah.
But if you, through your actions, through your own efforts, through your example, And that, I mean, with our school programs, I mean, it was essential for us to have a partnership with the parents of our students.
Sure.
Because they were facilitating
Yeah.
the engagement of our students. We couldn't force a student to start their math class at 8 o'clock when they're doing a self-paced program at home.
Right.
But the parents are there.
Parents could.
And if they really were wanting their kids to benefit, was we had the academic, you have the academic curriculum.
Yeah, they've got to commit to it.
The parents have to commit
Yeah.
to making sure.
Well, and that is one of the things. You were more, I think, at the K through 12 level.
We were, 6 through 12.
Yeah, and so we're at that point, the passing of the baton,
That's
sort of,
right.
to
That's right.
at the time when they're discovering, oh, I can goof off and stay up all night, and I don't have my parents
Mom's
here
not
to
there
check. Yeah.
looking, yeah.
So, but we're able to be there in a community that's supportive of them
Right.
making good decisions with their use of time,
Right.
and
And
provides lots of resources to help them become adults, and to be self-sufficient, and it's a critical time. I remember my that season of life for me, and they need to mature during that period of time, and if they miss out on that, then they're
Right.
behind.
Right.
And those are the kids that end up sleeping on the couch when
That's right.
their parents' couch.
That's right. We all have seen that individual well. But the cool thing with you, if I'm a parent, is I want my kids surrounded by peers like the students that attend your school.
I've heard it described this way, that most colleges in America, the peer pressure is all driving you toward partying
That's
and
right.
goofing off and immorality, all those things. And you can certainly find those things anywhere. You can probably find those at Arizona Christian University. But the peer pressure, not just from the community, but from the students, is to walk with God.
That's right.
Is to not do those things.
Right.
So you're sort of you're pushing against all the boundaries if you decide to go that. And of
you
course,
take a different
there's
course.
consequences if those things come to our attention. So
Sure,
yeah.
of course. Well, that's been a great conversation. We're talking also about our good friend David Schweikert.
Yes,
who
he's
made
venturing on a
big-
new journey.
I just got the email, I think early last week,
Well, he has been one of the best congressmen in the country, maybe the best,
Certainly
at
has.
analyzing the fiscal condition of the United States.
That's right.
And calling for us to take seriously the debt crisis that we have and the imbalances in the
spending
budget.
habits that
The spending
tend to,
habits that we keep voting for,
yeah.
apparently. And so I, for one, am grateful for the work that David has done.
should
He's
be an interesting.
been very consistent on that.
You probably have a few tips for him on his
I don't know.
coming venture.
I don't know about that. So yeah, we've talked a little bit, but
All right.
yeah.
Very cool. Any other, kind of nuggets of gold for our listeners? I mean, thinking through, like you said. I mean, I think it's good to point out that a nonprofit organization versus a for-profit organization. There, if you look at it, 90% of the organizations are synergistic, are parallel in goals.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I was mentioning, I'm part of a group of CEOs that run businesses of a certain size, and they're all Christians. So we talk about things from the standpoint of our faith, but we're talking about how to run the businesses better, how to make them more
marketing
effective.
campaigns,
Yeah,
how to
and so
be more efficient.
if you're, in the small college environment right now, if you're not running things well, you will not make it. And that's why we're seeing, I think I was reading today, 58 small colleges that have closed in the last 5 years.
Wow.
So because of the headwinds that we've talked about, people questioning the value of higher ed, even though if you just look at it economically, I'll make that one pitch, you're still on average going to make 30 to 50% more in a lifetime with a bachelor's degree than if you don't have one.
Than if you don't have.
But it's not for everyone. I've never believed it was for everyone.
Sure.
But at the same time, there's still a lot of value in higher ed. But certainly, we're constantly looking at ways that we can deliver a better educational product, a better experience for our students. It's about continuous improvement and to do it more efficiently,
Right.
as well as we can, because that's just necessary to be competitive in this world. And we're thankful too. We've got a lot of philanthropists who love the mission of the school and have gotten behind it, because without them we couldn't do what we do.
It would be a bigger struggle for sure. But nonetheless, they have expectations. If you don't run
They
your
do.
business
Yep.
in a meaningful way with
Absolutely.
a mindset
Yeah.
of just like you said, don't run it like the government. Don't run it where the spending doesn't matter and
Yeah. No, that's
success of your.
I don't think there's anyone at ACU who would say that
Right.
spending doesn't matter.
Right.
We watch things pretty closely. But it's also been, I think when I came to the school, we had 30 or 40 employees. Now we have more than 400.
Oh, wow.
And we're about 200 plus FTE. So we have some adjunct faculty and we have some part-time coaches and things like that. But it's a much larger operation now. And I've described it to a lot of people as, we're building the plane and flying it at the same time.
That's true.
And the goal, again, the goal is every year better. There's still a lot of things we've got to do, but we're moving in the right direction. We have a ton of momentum as a university.
But I mean, now I would say we talk about what keeps you awake. 400 employees, their families.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got.
Yeah, there's a lot of people counting on us getting it right.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, and that certainly is one of the big motivations behind you doing what you're doing is to making sure they have their future with
Yes.
themselves and their families too.
That's definitely true. And again, if you didn't go there and live it with me, you don't know what it was like over the last 15 years.
I can imagine.
But it's very much felt like a small business where there were times you were struggling just to get through the next week, the next month, and in faith. And a lot of people, that's where I talk about philanthropy. People did extraordinarily, heroically sacrificial things financially to help the school when it was being challenged financially. People that worked at the school went, in the leadership, went without pay, did whatever we had to do to keep things moving forward. And I look at where we are now, and again, it's a huge miracle over 15 years to see what I would say what God has done to enable us to be where we are today.
I mean, God put the right person in charge, so we'll say that.
Well, I don't know. The one that was willing, I guess, is
well, so to contact the school.
Yeah, I mean, you can go to our website, which is arizonachristian.edu,
Okay.
to get more information about the school. We're, like I said, our mission is very clear. We're one of the few conservative institutions of higher education in America, and outspokenly so. I mean, we're unapologetically conservative theologically and culturally.
Okay.
So it is a unique place, but I think it's that we're so clear about who we are is drawing the kinds of families and students that are going to benefit from what we do, which is hopefully boost them to a whole new level of leadership. And our faculty love students, our coaches love students. Everyone who's there that works there is about seeing students be successful.
Right.
And it's not a place where you're going to get lost in the crowd.
Right.
We're going to know who you are,
Sure.
and we're going to be able to invest in. I think of the number of letters of recommendation I've written over the years. There's not too many places where you have the president of a university writing letters of recommendation for students. As we grow, I don't get to know as many students as I did back when I would teach classes now and then, but I still know quite a few of them, and I know their story. I know why they're there. I know what they want to do in their life. And if I've had a chance to interact with them in significant ways, I'm happy to help them get that first job. And but our faculty, 100 times that.
Right. Just by doing the numbers, 1,600 students, 400 employees, not all faculty, but certainly a big number of those. The ratios have to be phenomenal of teacher to student.
They get a lot of attention. Yeah. So we're about 17-to-1 in terms of the faculty ratio,
incredible.
which is good. And a lot of the classes occur. You're in a seminar room with 10 or 12 students and a PhD faculty member.
Right.
And
That's incredible.
It's sort of old school in that way, but I think in a good way.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm all for it. And like I said, again, as a parent, I want my son or daughter to go where they're going to have the best influence they could possibly have, and that's going to come from their peers. Certainly, the support of the faculty is important, but you're at that age so influenced by what's happening on campus by your peers. So.
Sure.
Well, Len, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
It's been fun.
And everyone, please like the episode. We can't wait to see your response as we publish this. And then subscribe to the podcast if you're not. Tell your friends, family, peers, and we'll look for you on a future episode. Thanks for joining in. And thanks again, Len.
Thank you.